Many migratory birds have the potential to significantly impact agriculture in a number of ways. Native geese are an example of such a bird, and in California, they are quickly becoming of even greater concern. Geese, like all other bird species, belong to the vertebrate class Aves. A close relative of the duck, geese are further classified under the order Anseriformes and family Anatidae. There are currently two recognized genera of geese: the Anser or gray and white geese, and the Bronta or dark geese. When it comes to California agriculture and damage control, we are concerned about both. Specifically, there are three native species of prominent concern to California farmers: Anser caerulescens, Anser albifrons, and Bronta canadensis, or snow geese, specklebelly geese, and the many subspecies of Canada geese, respectively. While there are many species of geese present within California, these three pose the greatest overall threat to a multitude of California crops. The most common goose species in California, the Canada goose, and 7 subspecies, is identifiable by its signature black head and white cheek patches that form a distinguished chin strap. Their neck is black and connects to a light tan breast and gray-brown back. They are also known for their distinctive honking call. Snow geese, as their name implies, possess an almost fully white body, with the exception of their wingtips, which are a distinct black. This contrast in color is not easily visible while the goose is resting. However, during flight, the black coloration of the wings is clearly visible. Certain snow geese possess a genetic variation from other individuals within the same species. It is possible for a blue morph to emerge, wherein the body of the goose is a darker gray-blue color. This variation is independent of the sex of the bird. Like the snow goose, the identifying characteristics of the specklebelly goose are summarized by its name. It possesses a gray-brown feather coat with black mottling on the breast and abdomen, and white feathers near the base of the tail. In addition, it possesses a distinctive white band around the base of the bill. Another name for the specklebelly goose is the white-fronted goose. The many subspecies of Canada geese can vary significantly with regard to their size. Females tend to weigh between 3 and 11 pounds, and males between 3 and 13. However, the giant Canada goose subspecies, the largest goose in the world, has been known to reach a weight of over 20 pounds. They are monogamous for at least one season and lay anywhere from 2 to 8 eggs per clutch, and incubation can last up to 28 days. Furthermore, they are remarkably long-lived, reaching ages of up to 30 years. Snow geese are another monogamous species. They typically lay anywhere from 3 to 5 eggs per clutch, and incubation lasts from 22 to 25 days. Young snow geese leave the nest just hours after hatching and fledge after about 45 days. Snow geese, particularly lesser snow geese, can also hybridize with Ross's geese as well, which are very similar in appearance. Specklebelly geese typically lay an average of 5 eggs. They average around 28 inches long and weigh anywhere from 5.5 to 6 pounds, with males typically slightly larger than females. Species-specific variations in behavior exist among geese. For example, Canada geese fly in the signature V formation during migration, allowing them to conserve energy by flying in the low-pressure region of air created by the goose in front. Snow geese, on the other hand, are typically a very localized species. As such, they almost always fly in large flocks, often numbering in the thousands. However, the behavior of geese also largely encompasses the entire family. When it comes to habitat preference, they typically choose open areas with an unobstructed line of sight, thus allowing them to keep watch for predators. Furthermore, they will always be found near bodies of water, hence their description, waterfowl. Canada geese are widely distributed across almost the entirety of the continental United States. Furthermore, there are distinct populations of Canada geese ranging from the Pacific all the way to the Atlantic flyway. They breed in northern latitudes, Canada for the most part, but as temperatures decrease, they migrate south mostly via the central Missouri flyways to winter in the southern continental U.S. and even as far down as Mexico. Like the Canada goose, snow geese are another widely distributed species of goose. In fact, it is estimated that in recent years, as many as 1.2 million snow geese travel the Pacific Flyway to spend the winter in warmer latitudes at locations with abundant food. This is where a problem arises. These locations are often California rice fields, where snow geese receive more than half their food over the whole migration period. Speckled-belly geese follow a similar distribution and migrational pattern to that of both Canada geese and snow geese. Like the Canada goose, there are two distinct populations of speckled-belly geese in North America, the Pacific population and the mid-continent population. It is estimated that the Pacific population contains approximately 600,000 individuals. The geese of this particular population winter in the Central Valley and down into Mexico. In the wild, these particular geese species prefer open, semi-aquatic habitats such as ponds, rivers, lakes, marshes, and coastlines. As a result of this, rice fields and other flooded ag lands serve as ideal habitats to sustain immense seasonal populations of geese. Agricultural lands such as these are disrupted environments. In other words, they are habitats that favor these edge-adapted species of geese, allowing them to dominate over other species and organisms. Ag land is not the only environment that favors geese, however. Open recreational areas such as parks and golf courses also serve as ideal habitats for these species of geese. They have the ability to provide food and shelter for large populations of geese. In the past few decades, geese populations have been on the rise. It is estimated that the population of Canada geese within the United States numbers around 5.6 million. Likewise, snow geese have experienced population increases. It is estimated that population numbers between 2002 and 2012 increased by 1.8 million. The Pacific population of speckled-belly geese has increased by roughly 500,000 individuals since the 1970s. As a result of this, damage inflicted upon human land interests by geese have increased, posing an increased risk to California agriculture. Signs of geese feeding are relatively similar between species, so attributing crop damage to any particular species, aside from actually witnessing the bird feeding on your crop, can be difficult. Most crops that have been damaged by geese exhibit clips or tear wounds. Trampling of crops is another common sign of geese feeding. Other signs of feeding include the presence of feathers, fan-shaped tracks roughly 3 to 5 inches long, and feces. One of the most prominent concerns relating to geese damage is direct feeding. Most species of geese are generalist feeders, meaning that they are willing to feed on a variety of food sources. In agricultural settings, these sources are typically crops. Canada geese are known to graze on fall and winter crops, such as corn, wheat, and rye, as well as spring crops, such as soybeans. This often results in significant losses to California farmers. Snow and speckled-belly geese are known to cause prominent damage along their migration route via grubbing and uprooting, particularly to rice fields. Flocks of these geese can number in the tens of thousands, and they are capable of decimating crop yield within a field. However, direct feeding is not the only concern that arises with increasing goose populations. Migrating geese also pose one of the most significant threats to aircraft. Canada geese have been implicated as the cause of multiple bird strikes, including the 1995 crash during takeoff at the Elmendorf Air Force Base in Alaska, which resulted in the loss of all 24 crew members. Canada geese were also the cause of the dual-engine failure during the 2009 flight piloted by Captain Sullenberger. Canada geese are not the only geese species responsible for aircraft crashes, however. A flock of 200 snow geese were responsible for the crash of an aircraft landing in Aberdeen, South Dakota in November of 2000. It is estimated that bird strikes are responsible for $625 million in losses every year, with geese as one of the largest contributors of this number. Goose feces can also disrupt human interests, and the amount produced is astonishing. A single Canada goose is capable of defecating once every 20 minutes, resulting in up to 1.5 pounds of feces per day. This immense rate of fecal accumulation can pose numerous health risks, with one of the primary concerns being water quality. Water contaminated with goose feces can lead to increased levels of fecal coliform bacteria in reservoirs and other utilized water sources. On a less serious note, they can be a nuisance in recreational areas such as parks and golf courses. In terms of the legal status of the three geese species in question, they are currently specified as migratory game birds. As such, they are federally protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918, which prevents the hunting, capturing, killing, purchasing, or selling of any bird, egg, or part thereof without a permit. There is only one stipulation with this level of protection. It is legal to harass these geese species without the acquisition of a permit if they are causing damage to any agricultural operation. Furthermore, since they are classified as game birds, the California Fish and Game Commission sets hunting seasons for the take of these three species. The legal hunting season for the Canada goose begins on October 2nd and continues through January 9th. The hunting season for snow and specklebelly geese also begins on October 2nd and overlaps with much of the Canada goose season. However, it is illegal to hunt these two species from November 29th until December 31st. The season then ends on January 14th. The current take limit is set at 30 geese per day during the hunting season. However, of those 30, only 20 can be white geese, or snow geese, and no more than 10 can be dark geese. In other words, specklebelly and Canada geese. There are several methods by which it is possible to control populations of geese in agricultural settings. One such method, that is common not only for geese management, but for other bird species as well, is through the use of frightening tactics. These can either be auditory or visual, such as through the use of loud air cannons or moving lasers. These methods have one major drawback, however. Geese have the ability to learn via a process called habituation, wherein continual exposure to a stimulus results in a muted or negated response. In other words, frightening tactics only last for a short while the population of geese causing damage becomes accustomed to them, at which point they are no longer effective. Chemical repellents are another option. In California, only methyl anthranilate is approved for usage by both the FDA and the EPA as a viable bird repellent. However, dispersal of this chemical repellent can be highly expensive, and its efficacy depends on a number of different factors. Hunting remains the primary method of goose control within California, and it is particularly effective in localized areas. Hunters are restricted to the registered season and a bag limit of 30 geese per day. However, it remains an effective method of goose control. Unlike frightening tactics, there is an associated consequence for the geese when hunting, making habituation less of an issue with this particular control method. Legal means of hunting include the use of shotguns, 10 gauge or smaller, bow and arrow, dogs, and falconry. Harassment is a more effective method for controlling feeding populations of geese. Trained dogs are a particularly effective method of geese control. Pursuit is an instinct found naturally within canines. In other words, using dogs to frighten geese simply employs the biology of the dog to perform work that benefits farmers. Caution must be taken when using this particular tactic, however. Dogs are considered a legal extension of the owner's hand. A dog killing a goose when the owner does not have a permit may result in the owner receiving legal reprimand. Another benefit to this method of control is that it can be utilized in essentially any setting, from agricultural land to golf courses, and even to airstrips. The most effective management plans typically involve multiple methods of action. As such, a combination of hunting and harassment would be an effective way to mitigate geese damage.